on Tank.
And we're coming at you faster than a Bronny James brick. This is My Brother's an Idiot. Yes, it's the podcast where we talk about football, basketball, lots of Denver stuff, and whatever the hell else we want. I'm in Portland, so who knows how the Wi-Fi is going to hold up. So instead of me running the show like we normally do, I'm going to sit back, enjoy my beautiful Portland wine, and kick it over to my brother, the idiot, Mark. Take it away.
Sorry for your loss, everyone. I'm running the show tonight. Not unfamiliar territory for me, but it's been a minute. So let's start off with a little happy hour toast, shall we? I have in this glass a very brown drink. It is De Soie. It is a non-alcoholic aperitif. There is a ton of yuzu and pear and lemongrass and maple syrup and ginger and all kinds of fun stuff in this. It's pretty tasty. It tastes like nothing. If I could unsweeten pho broth, that might be the or if I could sweeten pho broth and take out the beefiness, that might be the closest comparison.
The lemongrass, that makes sense. Sounds like a solid beverage.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have Love Noir Pinot Noir. To go with my barbecue that's showing up directly because I'm in a hotel room in Portland.
They're not well, it could be worse. You could be in where is that in Pennsylvania where you get the takeout pizza and it's American cheese on top of what looks like. Have you seen that? Have you seen that particular style of pizza?
Pennsylvania or is it Ohio? That's got
that sounds Ohio.
Who unbakes the pizza and sends it? Did you send that to me on TikTok? There was that thing where the pizza's just gross. And it's not baked. Like they bake the crust and then they put the sauce and shit on it. Toaster, what's up, brother? This is why you can't eat at some people's house. That's just all there is to it. There's just some people out there you should not be allowed to eat there because the food is awful. And I'm not a big food shamer, but good God.
In Pennsylvania, I believe it's like basically like a Pillsbury biscuit crust that they roll out, and it's giant and square into a casserole dish. They bake that up so it proofs up nice and high, put a nice, not nice, but some kind of tomato sauce on it, and then cover it in Kraft singles. You're doing it wrong. It's hard to do pizza wrong, and you're doing it wrong.
I could get down on the biscuit crust because that actually sounds intriguing.
Makes a great breakfast.
Everything else needs. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, can you imagine like layering up a good biscuit crust and then putting down a nice cheese sauce and then just baking the eggs on top like a roasted egg, kind of egg in the hole situation? That would be spectacular. I'd get down on that all day, every day.
Where's the place they have the Coney hot dogs that's not the one in Brooklyn? It's in like Ohio, Philly. Okay,
there's a Coney place in Bailey.
Yeah, it's in Bailey, Colorado. There's also Mustard's Last Stand over by DU, and they make a pretty goddamn good.
Oh yeah, Mustard's Last Stand is good.
Yeah, that place is.
This is a bad one. This one's in like Ohio or Pennsylvania or Iowa, one of those, where it's they do chili dogs, but what they do with them is they put a slice of American cheese on top of it, and I'm like that. That's not okay.
There is
roughly what canned nacho cheese is.
There's literally no culinary reason to use American cheese on anything. Like there's no
cheeseburgers.
Cheddar.
Nah, cheddar.
It's cheddar cheese. Yeah, right. I get there's people that are like, well, American cheese because it melts better and it doesn't split. No, the cheddar cheese is superior on a cheeseburger. Cheese Whiz on a Philly cheesesteak from Pat's in Philly wins over American cheese all day long. It's wonderful.
See, I use like the really good American cheese in my macaroni and cheese, but I also use
no such thing as really good.
That is an oxymoron, sir.
No.
The
good Boar's Head sliced American cheese.
The closest thing to good American cheese is Velveeta, and that's only for queso. That's the only thing that Velveeta is good for is queso.
Correct.
Melting and dipping shit into.
The Queen Goon has a wonderful queso recipe with the Velveeta and the Fiesta cheese soup from Campbell's and the fresh hatch chili. The Queen Goon's queso recipe is superior. I've never had anything better than that cheese.
My recipe box is around me somewhere, but not immediately. And in that recipe box is several recipes that you made for me about 20 years ago. But also King Goon, your wife's what is it? The Mexican chicken. I got the queso. Trying to think of some of the other shit that. Oh man, there's some good recipes in there for sure.
Oh yeah, I need to put some more in that box for you too, because I've got. It's all up here. My recipe box is in my brain case.
Me too.
It just spills out. Let's go.
Yep. Mine is a verbal one. I was like, "You've got what? You know what we should do with that?"
Right. Well, that's riffing. That's like jazz, right?
Right.
You see what you've got in the fridge. You see what you've got in the pantry, and I can make this out of that. That's awesome. But there are recipes that live up here. Like my Penang. If you've never had a Thai coconut curry, I make a really good Penang. I make a fantastic gumbo.
Yeah.
My gumbo has been rated as authentic by pure Cajuns just because it took me 25 years to get there. It's not like I came up with it overnight. It took me a long time to figure out how to make gumbo the right way, but it's all up here. I could never write it down. Like, I need this much onion and I need this much bell pepper and the cooking of the roux and all the things that go together with it. I do need to make a pot of gumbo. I'm due.
It's very much what you put into it, and it's like coming up with a good bolognese sauce. That takes a good decade because you don't make bolognese all the time. So when you do, that's when you're messing with your craft. Oh yeah, if you're cooking for an army or Frank's family,
I cook Italian food 3 times a week, so I've made all of that stuff constantly.
When you're 1 or 2 people, it's hard to do that. So you're only breaking out your big pot of meat sauce once or twice a year. So it's hard to work on that recipe. So it takes a long time to perfect that craft.
My bolognese is about 20 years in development, and it's
me too,
right where I want it to be.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, I made a big pot before I left and froze little bits of it, and then threw that in bags so the queen could have something to eat because the only thing she knows how to cook is casserole. And I know she's not watching because she doesn't watch us. So it's okay if I say this. She's a great casserole cook.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
I cook everything else. So she's got bolognese to last her all week, plus some in the fridge. So she will not go hungry. And my bolognese is chef kiss.
For those of you listening, though, if you're thinking that his wife doesn't cook, she is an amazing cook. She just
she's
cooks
outstanding
in large batches for several people, and it's delicious for 20 plus people.
Right. When we had teenage boys, her skills were unmatched. But now it's just the 2 of us, and we have to scale it down. But I can also get a little bit upscale with it. Now it's my turn.
And Toaster,
you're absolutely right. There weren't rails to begin with.
Yeah.
You know what, Toaster? There are no rails.
There are 0 rails. I mean, we're
there
talking.
There are no roads where we're going.
There roads.
There are no roads.
We're going.
We don't
there
need roads.
Where we're going, there are no roads.
Who needs roads?
We were off the rails with the very first episode, and that's the episode that we came up with the thing where we talk about Gene Mingo in every single episode. That's how long we've been going off the rails for, is since the beginning of this show. So let's talk about some stuff that's actually on the rails then. Toaster, if you're going to be our moral guide for this show.
5 out of 5. Well done.
Thank you, sir. That was a good one.
That was well done. That was good.
Let's talk about what brought us here. Let's talk about the Denver Broncos on Thursday night and what they did to a basically super senior college football team, correct? We were talking about a bunch of kids who Spencer Rattler didn't even really look like he wanted to be there. Let's talk about the 33-10 Broncos over the Saints debacle. Matt, what do you think happened in this game, other than just there was one team that didn't play?
Yeah, number one.
Why did it just get dark in your room?
I don't know.
It's his lighting is going weird.
It's the camera. Number one, Spencer Rattler with his helmet off looks like Patrick Mahomes if you ordered him on Wish. All right, so these like a fake.
No, that's the kid Raiola from.
Yeah, I thought that was
Nebraska.
That kid from Nebraska.
Well, yeah, him too. He's actually closer. Raiola is more like the Amazon knockoff version. Spencer Rattler is the Wish version.
Gotcha.
Here's a couple of things here. Atlanta had zero going on at wide receiver. All of their
New Orleans.
Or what did I say?
You said
Atlanta.
Atlanta. No worries.
Oh, Atlanta.
They didn't either.
Yeah. New Orleans had no wide receivers. Taysom Hill's hurt. They only had Alvin Kamara, who is just shy or just at 30. So it's like he's a really talented person, but can't perform the way he used to. Spencer Rattler is a 5th-round rookie quarterback, and he played like a 5th-round rookie quarterback. What I do want to say is this. 2 things. One, Cody Barton had the game of his life, and he was legitimately awarded the AFC Defensive Player of the Week because he was in seemingly every single play this week. He was outstanding. Like if and when Alex Singleton comes back and you got Singleton and Cody Barton playing next to each other in that defense, it's going to be wonderful, right? Because he was amazing. The other part of this is that Bo Nix did not play well again. This team is going to go as far as Bo Nix takes them. The defense was so good and New Orleans was so bad that it didn't matter. And I think the same thing's going to happen this week coming up with Carolina, which might be the worst team in the league. But Bo's got to get better at making the open throw. He's got the in dig. He needs to get the out. He's got to fix his feet. He just didn't look comfortable again. And I know he's going to get better because he's got that talent and he's got the brains to be able to figure it all out. But this is a team that won a game in spite of Bo Nix as opposed to because of Bo Nix.
So Matt's basically saying that this game is like the Sean McCleary of the Poffle League. It's the Sean McCleary taco buy in the NFL is what happened with New Orleans. So let's go and talk about our local Sean McCleary taco buy expert and the Denver Broncos game. Tank, you lost to Sean, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
That was the
How is that a
wildest
thing?
No, dude, if you look at the score, it explains everything. It was wild. But besides that, yeah, Denver's defense looked really good again. And they have been the vast majority of this year. They haven't really had any off plays too much. So that's good. Yeah, we played a non-existent team, basically. I think their injury list is longer than anybody else's at this point, except for maybe Tampa's. And yeah, it was rough. They had no shot at this game, and you're 100% right. If they would have been the defense or offense that they had at the beginning of the season, it would have been a much different game, I think. And Bo, yeah, it's the overthrows that are the daggers, the overthrows to open targets. And it's like, he just needs to learn when to take a little bit of heat off of those balls or, place them just a little bit better because he's close. He's so close. But once he figures that out, I mean, God, the dude proved he was mobile again. What did he have, 75 rushing yards, something like that?
Yep.
Yeah, so we know he can run. We know he can. He's got the athletic ability to do all this stuff. He's just got to get the mental part down, and that comes with time. So hopeful on that one. Offensive line looked decent, but honestly, if it was a better defensive line, I think we would have run into some issues again. They still seem to have some issues, especially on the left side, but. Yeah, I mean, overall it was a decent game, but we kind of got lucky that we were playing a really shit team, I think.
I'm going to call you out on a couple of things here, Tank. One, I think San Francisco's injury list has entered the chat.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Their injury list is going to be...
It just went huge again.
That is an absolute mass unit. Two, I also think that the offensive line played much better than you're giving them credit for. There were some massive holes, and there was a play... and I think it was in the second quarter where they ran a wide receiver crack with a left tackle kick out that was absolutely sublime in terms of their execution of that play. And it kicked Williams loose for 10 or 15 yards. And Garrett executed it perfectly. I think it was Vele that ran the crack on the defensive end. If you're a fan of offensive line play, that play was gorgeous.
Oh.
And they had multiple plays like that. So, and you have to remember, the guys on the other side, whether or not they may be to the caliber of the teams you play week in, week out, they're still professionals. And they manhandled this team.
Guys, real quick before we go on, a couple of things that I really want to point out here. The Broncos offense is not going to play well against really good teams. And here's some stats that have really shown up in most of these games. And I'm just pulling these stats from this game that we just saw, but it shows to the general inefficiency of the game. You have Audric Estime with another fumble. What's that, 3 now? Or at
Too
least
many.
two on 9 carries, I believe. Your quarterback has 164 yards with no touchdowns, no interceptions. Your rushing is actually 225 yards, which is really good. But again, on third down, they are dreadful. In this game where you went up and beat them 33-10, you were 4 of 11 on third down. That's not going to win you many football games in your division who are, there's 2 other good teams in this division. The Raiders are the Raiders, but that's not going to win you very many games. I just want to point that out again, that this third down thing seems to be a thing with this team week in and week out, and that's a big problem. It starts with the kind of the play calling on first and second down and leaving them in 2nd and 9 and stuff like that. They've been getting better about that, and they're better against bad teams. But this third down thing it's concerning for sure.
Oh yeah, it's a team that can
leads
beat bad
directly
teams.
that leads directly to the inefficiency of the quarterback position. Quarterbacks are paid to convert third downs, and they're paid to convert touchdowns in the red zone. That's not something that Bo is really good at right now. I will say that in this game, Denver was much better on schedule, but when it came to throw the rock on third down, Bo again was inefficient and could not make the throws. I don't know if the one throw in the first or second quarter where he flew over Kroll but was short of Franklin, and either one of them would walked into the end zone where that ball was actually going. I actually think he underthrew Franklin based on where his feet were pointed, but if he fixes his feet and understands where and how he needs to point his feet and his whole body in terms of the throwing motion, not only in the pocket, but when he's on the move, he's going to be fine. But this is all part of the growing process of a young quarterback who is not as eminently talented as some of the rookies that we've seen this year. I'm talking about Jaden. I'm talking about Caleb. Those guys are just so good from a physical talent standpoint that Bo needs time to catch up to where they are talent-wise with what happens in his head. When the game slows down, he'll be fine.
And about those other 2 quarterbacks, it's not to lower their value at all, but let's be honest, they also have better offensive weapons somehow. They have guys that can get open better consistently, and that does matter.
Matt, you mentioned it, and we were chatting earlier. Matt, you sent me that video of that kid who was crying because of all of his team was out, and he was talking about Debo being hurt and in the hospital and stuff. Did you see that Debo Samuels responded to that kid's video?
No, I didn't see that.
He sent a tweet at him. He sent a tweet at him that was like, "I'm okay, buddy," and that was kind of what he said. That was really cute.
I love Debo. Like, how can you not like this guy? How can you like anybody on the 49ers? Like, they're all like solid dudes.
Yeah.
And great players. They're just all super hurt. Like, you can't do anything about that.
Well, you guys have anything else to say besides Will Lutz continues to be a weapon about the Broncos game?
Will Lutz is a weapon. Cody Barton is turning into an all-pro linebacker. Last time I saw, and we'll talk about it here in a minute, but I'll tell you right now, bet the mortgage on Broncos and the points this week because Carolina is dog shit.
And they got some news, which we'll talk about here with the game as well. So, Frank, if you're good, I'm going to go ahead and get started on Pew Pew Pick'em.
Let's roll it.
All right, it is Pew Pew Pick'em, and this is where we talk about the games against the spread for the coming NFL week. We have been keeping track all season long about the way these 2 guys pick. We've had some other people come in and pick too, but we're not keeping track of their scores because in our hearts, the guest stars are perfect. But you two guys, far from it. One of you is further from it. Matt, you won 11 games this week, which brings
Solid.
your season total to 57 wins for the week. Not bad, sir. Not bad.
Thank you.
Frank, do you know how you did?
No, but I would guess around 7 or 8.
Oh, you did better than that, buddy.
Oh, wow.
You did 10. So you
Shit.
didn't
All right.
you didn't make up any ground, but you didn't lose much either. So we are at
He lost a game.
Yeah,
11 to 10, right?
You didn't lose.
Yeah.
Much. One game isn't much when you're down by 10.
Was that the Seahawks?
So season total is 47 to 57 in favor of King Goon over Frank the Tank. Yeah, that's 47 total. What was your question about, Frank?
Was that the Seahawks?
No, you guys all bet on the Seahawks.
Oh, we both
on
took
that.
Falcons.
You guys all took the Falcons on that. And Bobby did too. One's like the where is it? The Giants, which you picked inexplicably.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was just dumb.
Dude, you got to take one every once in a while. Come on.
No, you don't.
I do.
By the way, I just want you guys to know that Bobby was the only one. So the Duchess was the only one who got the Lions on the road against the Vikings correct this match. So good job.
That was a great game and absolutely outstanding football game.
Absolutely. That was a wonderful game that the Vikings lost in, which brings us to this week's slate of games. And on Thursday night, the first game is that team we were just talking about, the Minnesota Vikings, going on the road to Los Angeles. They're not in St. Louis anymore because St. Louis doesn't support teams that suck. This is the Vikings in Rams country, the place that Kroenke built, but is not currently building, by the way. Big news in Denver for those of you who aren't aware. There's some building going on here. Vikings on the road, favored by 3. So, yes, Matt, we've got our first home dog. 48 points is the over-under in this one. Why don't you go ahead and start, Matt, since you love home dogs?
This one's a tough one. Cooper Kupp is coming back for the Rams, reportedly. But even though they lost the game, Sam Darnold is still playing very well, and they've got a very good defense. They've got a very good offense. They've got some things going on in Minnesota. I actually think that if you were playing the points, I would take the Rams and the points, but this one's going to be Minnesota if you're playing the money line.
Frank?
Ooh, starting off hot. I think I agree. Minnesota's defense is just fantastic so far this year. But I think I'm going to take the Rams at home on this one. I think that offense is going to be a little bit more complete this week. The defense is looking better as the season has progressed, and I think that'll be enough.
We are off and running, ladies and gentlemen, with our first tie. In this week's edition of First Ties, I got the scores, went to my wife and said, hey, what do you think? And so, again, we are going with Duchess's picks for tiebreaker. Yay! And Bobby in this one picked the Purple People Eaters. Could you believe that? You know, it's a not
wow.
I know. You know, and
holy shit.
I think it's just, you know, I think it's Vikings on the road. So that's what we got on that one. Let's carry on to the next game, shall we? And let's go quick about this one, unless we want to bury the dead in this. This is a game in Cleveland where the Ravens are going in, favored by 9, another home dog, Matt. 44.5 is the over-under in this game. Fuck Cleveland, guys.
Yeah, I will not be taking the home dogs on this one. Cleveland looks like garbage. That offense is terrible. I don't think it matters who's catching the snaps in this one. The Ravens look like a dominant offense, and that's what's going to continue.
Over or under the 9 points?
Honestly, I might glance towards the over.
Matt.
Yeah.
I am never one to celebrate an injury to a professional athlete. However, watching that calf twinge the way it did and just know what happened to that absolute turducken that is currently slated to be the starting quarterback, who they're on the hook for through 2027, gave me a great amount of joy. Fuck Deshaun Watson and everything he stands for. Having said that, Cleveland Browns can't get out of their own way. They think that DTR is a better quarterback than Jameis Winston. I can't imagine why they think that. I think Jameis is solid as a player and as a quarterback in this league. I think they're probably going to try to play Jameis this week. However, there's not much else going on there besides Nick Chubb getting his legs back under him and David Njoku, who I would love the Broncos to try to trade for. Hello. Let's have a chat there. Denver, let's go get David Njoku. I don't think 9 points is enough. Cleveland's a dumpster fire. They're going to be a dumpster fire. Let's go away from that and give me the under.
Wholeheartedly agree with all of the things you said about Deshaun Watson being the absolute worst person who's getting paid the most amount of money. Fuck Cleveland. I hope he loses every cent of that contract to litigation. Fuck that guy. Bobby also takes the Ravens in this game. Let's talk about another game that's not going to be super interesting, and this is in Detroit, where the Motor City Kitties are favored by 11 over a mayo and banana with the peel eater on. The Titans are going into Detroit. Lions favored by 11 in this one, guys. Fun fact, in this week's spreads, there is only one game below 40 points in the over-unders. So lots more scoring in this week than there has been in the previous weeks. This is by far the highest week I've seen probably since week one. Anyways, back to the game. 45.5 points is the over-under on this one. Matt, what do you think?
There's a couple of interesting things happening in this game. Jameson Williams is now facing a 2-game suspension for the substance abuse program. His career has stopped and started, and he's had some issues, so that the Lions are going to be missing a weapon there. David Montgomery is going to be fighting a knee. He left the game this week for that knee, but did come back. But Jahmyr Gibbs is still wonderful. That said, the Titans are terrible. I do not trust Will Levis just as far as I can throw him. They don't have anything going on, and reports are they're losing one of their wide receiver weapons. He's going to be going to the Chiefs. D-Hop is going to be leaving. So if I were betting the points, I don't know if I would do it because I don't know if Detroit has enough offensive firepower to put 10 points on or 10 points above what the Titans are going to be able to do. So give me the Lions on the money line and definitely take the under here.
Frank?
Yeah, no, I mean, not much else to say about it. The Titans are kind of a wreck from bottom to top, and losing a weapon is not going to help. Or did I say that wrong? Titans. Yeah, Titans are terrible. The Lions may be getting a tight end back. We'll see how that plays out. That could add some
under the 11
firepower.
points.
I'm going to take the over, actually.
Thank you. That's honestly all I care about in this game is if that over under. This game is disinteresting to me unless Will Levis comes up with some crazy meme again, because he's like 6 for 6 on weeks where he's played coming up with memeable shots.
That's all magic juice from Space Jam.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, let's move on. Let's talk about more bad decisions, probably. And this is in Miami. This is the Dolphins welcoming in the Arizona Cardinals. Reports are that Tua is practicing and probably will play this week. The Dolphins are at home, favored by 3 in this one. The over-under is 46.5. Frank, what do you think about this?
Yeah. If Tua plays, the Dolphins have a chance. If not, it's the Cardinals, and that's kind of what we're up to. I think Tua still has another week riding the pine. I think they'll bring him back next week, so I'm going to go with the Cardinals.
So it's Call of Duty versus Tua's brain. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, it all depends on whether or not Tua can clear the protocol. And can he return to form? Now, we all know that Mike McDaniel's offense requires a quarterback that gets the ball out quickly. I still don't trust Arizona. The Call of Duty launches this week, so we all know that. And they only scored, 16 points this last week against a undermanned Los Angeles Charger defense. So I do not trust what's happening in Arizona. I will not trust them the rest of the year, depending on who they're playing, because we all know Kyler does great for the first 6 weeks and then he falls off the cliff. If Tua plays, this is a win by the Dolphins. I hate to hedge it that way. I'm going to say, because it's on the road, because Arizona has to go to Miami, give me the Dolphins on this, regardless of who the quarterback is, because I think they'll be able to score enough points to be able to put up what Kyler may or may not be able to put up. Give me the Dolphins.
We are not going to do a deep philosophical debate, but should Tua actually play again? Yes or no, Frank?
Yes, once he's cleared.
Matt?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's all we're going to say about that. Let's move on to the next game, which has the Aaron Rodgers shit show going on the road to New England, where they are taking on the Patriots at home, where Drake May is getting killed every single week, but looks kind of legit. The over-under in this one is 41.5. Jets are on the road at a 7.5-point favorite. Jesus Christ, considering how bad they played last week, that is insane to me. But anyways, it's not for me to decide. It is actually for Matt to decide.
Is it anything but the Jets here? I mean, the Patriots are a dumpster fire. Their coach is now calling them out again for being soft. Their ex-coach is saying, well, they're not soft. They're just not playing great defense. Well, guess what? Your head coach is a defensive coach. So if they're not playing great defense, that is a subtle shot from Slick Bill calling out the old defensive coach. Aaron Rodgers is still an excellent quarterback in this league. The locker room and the dumpster fire and the drama and then all the things that are happening in New York will certainly have an impact in this game, but I can't see any reason why the Jets lose this game. They simply have more talent.
Does it get to the 7.5 points?
Yep. Cover it.
Okay, Frank?
Yeah, the Jets don't look great, but I think the Devontae effect is that 7 points. I think once he has a game in and he's going to have a full week of practice now under his belt, and I think that'll help huge, and that'll be the difference maker. So Jets win. I don't know if I trust the 7. I'm going to go with no on the 7.
Okay, so under the 7.5 for Frank, over the 7.5 for Matt, and let's move on to the NFC South, where Baker's Bucks are back at home, welcoming in the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons are on the road, favored by 2.5 points in this one. The over-under in this game is 46.5. Matt has got some barbecue, which is awesome. We are going to get to hear every single bit of this unboxing.
Carry on. Who are the Bucks playing?
The Bucks are playing the Falcons
at home.
Yeah.
Bucks at home.
Luckily, it is Frank's turn to go first. The Falcons are favored by 2.5 on the road. What do you think, Frank?
Oh, man, I would love to take the Bucks on this one. He's weaponless at this point, right? Baker, who does he have to throw the ball to? Cameron Brate?
Mike Evans is back this week, isn't he?
I don't believe so. He was out in the first quarter. I don't know if he's been cleared yet. If Evans is cleared, maybe. But
yeah,
this looks rough. I think Atlanta gets this one. Yeah, unfortunately, I think it's Atlanta.
All right. That sounds like a wonderful situation there for you, Frank. Matt, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, so I watched that game. That hamstring of Mike Evans is torn off of the bone. I have seen injuries like that multiple times. When you pull a hamstring, it's a twinge. When it hurts, it is torn. I don't know if we'll see Mike Evans the rest of the year. And I don't really like to speculate on injuries, but having seen that happen and seen how people grab it's coming. Godwin's injury was absolutely insane. It was a hip drop tackle, and there may be a fine coming for that. They don't have any wide receivers. It's down to Otten as their primary tight end. They just don't have the weapons anymore. I will give Baker credit. He won me a fantasy game this week by putting up the numbers he put up in the last half of the third quarter. I know. Go ahead.
Nobody cares about your fantasy team.
14. Yep. But he's got no one to throw to. Atlanta still is getting better every single week. They've got much more talent on offense. I think they're better on defense. This is going to be Atlanta easy.
All right. So we've got a Thuggin sighting in Tampa Bay. Let's stay in Florida, shall we? Let's go to Jacksonville. Let's go to Jacksonville. Because they were just at home and now they're away in Jacksonville, Florida, in America, because they're actually, the UK Jaguars. The Jaguars.
It'll happen eventually.
The Green Bay Packers are going down to meet the Jacksonville Jaguars in their second home of Jacksonville. The Packers are on the road, favored by 4. Look at that rib. That's a good looking rib bone. Yep. It is your turn to go first, sir. The Packers are favored by 4.5 points on the road. I don't have to tell you guys who Bobby picked because you guys know what Bobby picked. So there's not going to be a tie in this one.
There is
no chance of ties in this one. But I want to know what Matt thinks.
There is a problem with Jordan Love. He is turning the ball over at a clip where he shouldn't turn the ball over. Having said that, I do not trust the Jacksonville Jaguars, even at home. The Packers are a better football team from stem to stern. Give me the Packers here. It would not surprise me if the Jaguars won on a fluke, but if I'm betting, give me the Pack.
Frank?
Yeah, like you said, Jordan Love has some consistency issues kind of showing up, but defensively, the Packers are better. Offensively, the Packers are better, even without Jordan Love throwing the ball, to be honest. And they actually have a kicker that can, hit more than a 30-yard field goal. So that's a positive. Packers win.
Packers win. Carry on. Okay, let's talk about a game that's going to be in that kind of general vicinity of the country. This one is in Houston, Texas, which is just a short highway drive, I'm sure, by some highway. You can probably do it. I'm sure there's highways that go from Jacksonville to Houston. I can't confirm that, but I'm sure that's the case. Okay, so the Jacksonville Jaguars are still top of mind for me. The Houston Texans are in Houston, of course. They're at home, favored by 5.5 points against the Indianapolis Colts. Colts going down to Houston. The over-under in this game is 46.5 points. What do you think about this one, Frank?
Well, CJ had his lowest offensive output of his career last week, which was not great. The offensive weapons are kind of hurting there, but I would still put my money on Houston at home this week. I think they have a good enough defense to slow Indy down with their kind of iffy offense. So, Houston at home. And 4 is probably right.
It's 5.5.
Oh, 5.5. Yeah, 6. Yeah, that makes sense. We'll take a touchdown win.
Okie dokie, Matt.
There is a problem in Indianapolis. Anthony Richardson has not progressed the way he should have progressed. I do recognize that CJ has not had the sophomore season that he should have had. However, they have way more weapons with Tank Dell and Joe Mixon and Stephon Diggs. There's way too many bullets in that gun for Houston. I don't think there's any way they can lose this game. Give me the Texans. Take the points.
Okie dokie. Matt, that was the first time that you didn't pick the same team that the Duchess did. So until that point, you picked the exact same way that the Duchess did. That was the first time you have deviated from her picking because she picked Indianapolis on that one. So yeah, that was a fun little stretch. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games in a row that you picked with her.
So she was super smart until just now.
Oh, let's talk about birds versus cats. Well, you guys like birds or cats better, generally speaking, like as animals? I don't know.
My favorite animal is a lion, so I guess cats.
I guess you'd go with cats. Matt, what do you think? You like Burbies or
I mean,
Keepies?
Is it a chickadee or is it an owl? Is it a house cat or is it a puma? Like
cats or birds?
It's too
general.
Pick a cat or a bird.
A cat, sure.
Make a choice.
No, you know what? Fuck off, birds. Birds are cooler. They talk. Birds can say words.
Birds can say words.
can cats.
I am living proof of a cat that can talk because there's one that's in the other room right now who talks to me constantly. That would be my wife. She is a cat. So we're siding with cats on this one. But anyways, back to NFL football. The Eagles, who have some issues. Sirianni every week. There's something that comes out about that fucking jabroni that's just like, what in the fuck's going on there? But the Eagles are going on the road to Cincinnati, where they're taking on the Bengals. Those are the birds and the cats. If you had to choose now, would you change your choice? I wouldn't. The Bengals are at home, favored by 2.5. The over/under in this one is 48. Matt, what do you think?
At home, the Bengals are probably the better team. The only proviso to this, and it's not going to change what I vote for here, but if the Eagles can get the running game established and can dominate the line of scrimmage like they did last week, then the Bengals have no chance. They can't score with the Eagles if Saquon goes off. That said, I think that they're smart enough in Philadelphia to be able to game plan for that, take Saquon, if not away, but limit him to the point where he's not going to hurt them so much. Joe Burrow is better than Jalen Hurts. I like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins better than I like A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Give me the Bengals.
All right. That is a vote for Slim Brady. What do you say, Frank?
The Eagles actually have been looking better on the offensive and defensive line the last few games, so I'll give them props for that. And very, very unoften, or not often this happens, I actually praised Nick Sirianni for one thing this week, and that's a conversation he had with Saquon Barkley on the sideline, where he asked him, do you want to hit your career high today or not? I'm taking the starters out, but if you want it, you can have it. In respect for both him and Barkley, he said, no, don't worry about it. As long as we get the win as a team, that's kind of good for both of them, and I appreciate that.
Matt,
was that Sirianni or was that the running backs coach?
No, that was Sirianni.
I read it. Oh, was it Sirianni?
It was Sirianni. I've seen the
video. You stole my thunder a little bit there, Frank. I was going to mention that in my little post, but yeah, Sirianni comes over, and I was actually it was more of a boost to your guy there, the running back, and he didn't say no, as long as we get the win. He said, why don't you let the young guys get a chance?
Yes, also, yes.
It was exactly word for word. Yeah, let the young guys eat, which I have very much a respect for. He's like, Sirianni asked him, but then, so good for Saquon, man. Like, that made me actually respect him a lot. So, yeah, good for him.
I love Saquon. He just happens to play for a shit organization.
I'm still going to take the Bengals.
Okay.
Because I think they're going to be. I think they're overall a better team. I'm just saying we shit on Sirianni pretty constantly. That was a nice thing that he did that did not make him look like a prick, and that's all I was saying.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one. You stole my thunder a little bit, but yeah, Bengals. Okay, sure.
And this is going to be a high-scoring game, I think. Actually, I think there's going to be a lot of points in this one.
Let's talk about a game that's probably not going to be real high scoring. And that's a 40-point total right now, which I think is way too high for this one. And that's the New Orleans Saints that are going to have a home game in not New Orleans. They're going to Los Angeles, where they're going to take on the Chargers. And everybody knows it's never a home game for the Chargers wherever they go, but the Saints will show up there. The Chargers are at home, favored by a 7.5 point favorite. 40 points seems like a lot of points to me. Frank, what do you think about this one?
I mean, that Chargers offense looks rough, let's be honest. But the Saints defense, if it's the same thing they had rolling out last week, I think the Chargers are going to run the ball down their throat all day long, and it should be an easy win for the Chargers.
Over the 7.5?
I'm still going to take the under because I don't think it's going to be that many points.
Coward, Matt.
If the Saints don't get to Justin Herbert and break his leg, I don't think there's any way that they will beat the Chargers in this game. We've seen the Saints. We watched them live. We've seen everything they can do. They started off like gangbusters. I don't know if there's a solve here. The Chargers have too much talent on the defensive line. if I were betting the points, I'd say take the Saints and the points. But if we're just betting money line, let's go with the Chargers.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a close game.
He's saying the same thing I'm saying.
Not a lot of points going on.
Coward.
No.
Both of you are cowards. The Chargers will
How is
win.
that coward?
The Chargers take the over in this one, but take the under in the point total. Go under the 40 points in the total on this one. Let's go on to the next game, and that is the Bills and Seahawks. Buffalo is going on the road all the way to Seattle. So they're going nice little straight flight line, just that way. That's left if you're looking at your map on the got your little atlas. Buffalo's over here, Seattle's over here. The Bills are favored by 3.5 on the road, Matt, of course, right? So the over-under in this one is 47. I believe it is Matt's turn to go first. Swig of wine.
The Bills are funny. Amari Cooper scores touchdowns without knowing what the route's supposed to be. They are going to only get better. I do not trust Seattle even at home. The 12 is going to be a thing. But the Bills are on the upswing. Give me the Bills and the points, and give me the over.
Frank?
I'm leaning in that same direction. I don't trust Seattle. There's too hit or miss. They're too inconsistent. They've had really good games and really dog shit games. The Bills have been fairly steady all season, and they have another weapon. And a guy that's actually going to know the playbook maybe this week. So, yeah, Bills should put a dominant game in.
DK's hurt. DK is hurt.
DK is also,
he may not play this game. So that's going to change absolutely everything.
Hey, Frank.
Yo.
Where is Seattle?
We're in Washington.
It's in Washington, where Matt is actually in the Pacific Northwest.
That's
it's
right.
In Washington.
No, I'm in Oregon. I'm in Oregon.
I know
Washington.
you're not in Washington, but you're in the Pacific Northwest. But like you said, it's in Washington. So let's go to the District of Columbia, which is also known as Washington, where the Commanders are welcoming in the Chicago Bears. Bears are on the road in this one. Man, there is another home dog. 1.5 favorite for Bears on the road. 43.5 points in this game. Frank, what do you think about this one?
This is a really good game if Jaden plays. Even a hurt Jaden gives Washington a decent chance against the Bears, but I think that is the biggest difference maker in this game. With the hopes that he's okay enough to play, I'm going to take the Commanders in this one.
Washington. Matt?
There is not a more perfect backup quarterback in any team in the NFL than Marcus Mariota for Jaden Daniels. He is Jaden Daniels light. He throws the ball decently. He runs the ball really well. I don't care if Jaden plays or doesn't play. The Commanders are getting more healthy on offense. Brian Robinson should be much more closer to form. I don't like the Bears on the road here. Give me Washington.
Washington. We're going to skip this next game. Skip that one. Yeah, we're going to skip that one and come back. But we're going to talk about another game that's really important to us, and that's because it's in the AFC West, right, guys? And that is the Chefs going into Las Vegas and probably not going to gamble a lot. But they are favored by 10 on the road. 41.5 is the over-under for this game. Matt, what do you think?
Is there really any way the Chiefs lose this game? I mean, really, is there any way? The Raiders have one quarterback now. Fat Aiden Farva has a broken thumb. They did not have a third emergency quarterback in the game last week. So they had two guys. One of them got hurt. And now you're stuck with Minshew Mania and nobody else. Whatever. It's the Raiders being the Raiders. I don't think there's any way the Chiefs lose this game. I don't care who plays, who gets hurt, doesn't matter. Give me the Chiefs with a circle.
Over the 10?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Absolutely.
Frank?
Yeah.
Mahomes versus Minshew? Come on.
Oh, I'm with you. I just needed to hear you say those words, Frank.
In spite of the ineffectiveness that the Chiefs offense has been this year, because they have been fairly off, off key this year. There's not a chance the Chiefs don't just mop these dudes up and ram the ball down their throat for 400 yards at least. So I'd take the Chiefs and the 10. That seems low, to be honest.
Okay. Well, let's talk about Sunday Night Football, guys. This looks to be a pretty interesting game for Sunday Night Football. We are talking about the Dallas Cowboys going to Santa Clara to take on the 49ers. 49ers are favored by 4.5 points in this game. The over-under in this one is 46.5 points, which I mean, it's pretty mid for this week. So anyways, 49ers, blah, 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 blah. I think that's all the things I needed to say. Frank, why don't you talk about it?
We have a very injured and ineffective defense against a very injured and ineffective offense. God, I don't know, and I honestly don't see either of these teams being there at the end of the year, but I am going to take a Hail Mary on the Cowboys somehow pulling this out, just because the 49ers are so beat to shit right now.
But Debo's okay, buddy. Matt?
Yeah.
One guy.
Brandon Ayuk is hurt and gone for the year. However, they are going to get a healthy Juwan Jennings. George Kittle has another week to get his foot better. We may actually see McCaffrey this week or next week. I don't think it's going to be this week.
It's next week.
But I don't think that it matters. The Dallas Cowboys are an abject disaster in terms of what their expectations are and how their team is put together. Who's running the football in Dallas?
Jerry.
Answer me that question.
I said
Who's
Jerry.
running the football? Not who's Jerry Jones is running the football. Not
Might
who's
as
running
well.
the team. Who's running the football?
Well, he's
Give him a shot.
he's telling what questions they're supposed to be asking. So
You cannot play a San Francisco team. You cannot play a Shanahan team and not be able to run the football. I truly believe on the road, Dallas is going to be ineffectual. I don't think they have the stones to be able to do this. Give me San Francisco. They will cover. I think they've got enough weapons to make this work. Fuck Dallas.
right on. I love it. I love
Although
all of
if
that.
they let Dowdle carry the ball, more often, they might actually make something happen over there.
Okay, but who's running the show there? It's Jerry Jones. He
Nobody.
paid all that money to Zeke. He loves Zeke. He's going to say Zeke has to get the ball. It's not going to work.
That's so stupid. Yeah.
No one said it was smart.
Well, we got to break a tie in this one. The reason why I was saying earlier that I loved everything that Matt was saying is because Duchess does too. She picked the 49ers. So that's the way the podcast will be going in this tie. Let's talk about Monday Night Football, but not for very long because fuck this game. This is the New York Football Fighting Frank the Tanks going into Pittsburgh. Taking on the Steelers, who are favored by 6.5. This is the only total of the entire weekend that is under 40. This is at 36.5 for the over-under in this game. Matt, I believe it's your turn to go first.
I don't know if there's any way that the Giants can actually win this game because if they hurt the quarterback on the Pittsburgh side, they actually get a quarterback who's more athletic. They've got weapons. We saw what Russ can do with a playbook that, excuse me, that's not what he's used to, but his deep ball is every bit the deep ball that we expected. He's got receivers that are making plays for him. Najee Harris is still there. The Giants are absolute garbage, and Daniel Jones is trash. 100%. This is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Plus or minus on that 6.5, sir?
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a touchdown. Absolutely.
Okay. Beautiful, Frank.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Steelers as well, but I think Russ got saved on quite a few of those throws last week by having good receivers. It looks like the same fucking dude from Denver, to be honest, just with better receivers. I don't trust him to have the same type of game. He's going to put a lower output this week. But the Steelers still win. Giants are still shit. But I think it's going to be under 7.
Coward. Couple things I have a problem with. I'm not sure if the Steelers receivers are that much better than the Broncos receivers. But that was it precisely.
All right, hold on. Would you take George Pickens right now over anyone else on this team?
Oh, 100%. And
That's all you need to know.
like, the top two targets are better than anybody else on the team.
Absolutely.
So I guess I would be. So
I
never mind. I retract that statement. But I believe once again you have stolen my thunder, because that was my point, and I think I said that to Matt on Sunday when we were watching the games. Going, I can't believe how many times Russell Wilson has been saved in this game by his receivers.
They bailed him out on so many of those throws.
Absolutely.
But you know what? Those
wonderful
throws
catches.
were exactly where they needed to be, and they made the catch. It wasn't like it was an underthrow and they came back and got it. That moon ball just fell right where it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
It still required a great catch to
It was a great catch.
Yeah. Don't start. Don't give
Pickens did have to come back on one of those. He did have to come back on one of those.
There's going to be an underthrow every now and again, but they made the catches they had to make. They have the talent to be able to do it. He put the ball where it needed to be, especially on most of the deep throws.
Those were circus. There was like 5 circus catches in that game, and I can't remember. I don't know. Maybe when Antoine Randall L was there the last time we had 5 circus catches in a game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's been a long time since they've had.
I was thinking Santonio.
Antonio was good for a circus catch a game.
No, Santonio.
Santonio.
Yeah,
maybe between those.
I'll give you $1 if you can tell me where Antoine Randall L went to college.
Didn't he go to CU?
Nope.
Was it? No. I know it's. I did know this one, but I can't remember what it is.
Indiana.
Okay.
I was thinking somewhere in the Midwest, and I couldn't remember where it was. I was thinking
Indiana.
Iowa for some reason.
I loved me some Antoine Randall L. That guy was so.
Anyways,
fun.
The point being is that the receiver work was really good in that game. I wasn't saying anything negatively.
Quarterbacks into receivers.
Shut your face. We're talking about the Broncos now.
Yes. Yes.
Let's talk about our game of the week. We are talking about the Panthers, who are coming into town to face the Broncos. Vegas knew this before anybody in the NFL did, because the spread jumped a couple points. Andy Dalton's not playing this weekend, guys. The head coach came out and announced it already, which somebody needs to teach him how to actually be a head coach and protect your players by saying we don't have an injury. Like, he's on the report, but he's not. You know what I mean? But they announced that he was out. So we are prepping for Bryce Young in this game. That moved the spread 2 points, guys, to 9. Broncos are favored by 9 points at home in this one. The over-under is 43.5. Frank, go ahead and tell me what you think about this one.
I think that spread is right where it belongs. And the Carolina has basically nothing going for them at this point. Offensively or defensively, to be honest. This should be a fairly one-sided game with the Broncos showing out again.
Okay, and you think that 9 is high, low?
I think it's slightly low. I'd actually take 10.
You think it's 10, so you would take the over in that?
Yeah, I'm taking the over, yeah.
Okie dokie. I am looking to see just real quick to make sure that number didn't move again.
It might have moved to 10 at this point.
It is at 10 right now.
I'd still take it. I'd still take the over.
Take the over. All right, Matt, wrap this thing up.
This is the worst team we've seen in a long time, barring the one win that Carolina had against Oakland when the Red Rifle went nuts because it was the bump of the new quarterback coming in. And they're like, oh, we're all excited, but that was also Oakland. The only way that Carolina keeps this game close if they get Chuba Hubbard working. I don't see them being able to do that because the defensive line of Denver is one of the strengths of this team. They are deep at defensive line. They're deep at cornerback. The linebackers fly over the field. I don't see how they can really put together any semblance of a running game to keep this game close. Yes, Bryce Young is a supremely talented athlete, but he has not been able to figure out how to play the NFL game. Having said that, Bo looks better at home than he does on the road. I think there's going to be some support behind him. we're going to see another 26 to 30 point output from the Denver Broncos. Can Carolina score that much? Absolutely not. I think they hold Carolina under 10 points. Give me the Broncos. Give me the points. Hammer the under.
What's the over-under on the sack Allen pressures?
Pressures or sacks?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with 3 sacks, 10 pressures.
We on this show obviously stan some Zach Allen, but we would be remiss if we neglected to mention that Jonathan Franklin Myers has been fucking unbelievably
he's been
good this year too.
also.
JFM has been
the
acquisition of the year.
Word for word what I was just going to say. Jonathan Franklin Myers, we all knew that this guy was going to be a steal, just the way that, when he left New York, the way the New York media just went, oh, fuck. And with the Denver Broncos, and they weren't talking shit about him. When they see bad players off, they talk shit. They were saying nothing but good things about this guy on his way out of town. And so you knew he was going to be a star. And next to Zach Allen, those two guys are just fucking unbelievably good at making it so much easier to play linebacker.
Reminds me of
safety behind.
You want to know what this defensive line reminds me of in a 3-4 defense? You've got Allen, you've got Myers, you've got Roach.
Yeah,
this reminds me a lot of who's the cat that played here from Cincinnati. He's a hunter. God damn it! The words.
Shoot.
Yep.
He still works for the team. The team.
Yes. He was a monster. Big white guy.
Yeah. Derek Wolfe.
It reminds me of Derek Wolfe. This reminds me of the other cat that went to Carolina. This reminds me of Super Bowl. I know. I'm old. It reminds me of that defensive line. These guys are so fucking good, and there's so many of them. We saw what Denver could do with an offensive line. I'll tell you what. As much shit as I give Mike McGlinchey, he played the best game of the last season and a half against New Orleans. Yeah. He was absolutely outstanding. And when McGlinchey's playing great, that means that the belly is playing great. When the right side's playing great, that means the center has less pressure on him. I love Powers. Ballsy's got 8 or 9 games left in his Denver Broncos career, but he's serviceable. I really like what this defense has to offer. And I think you're right. I don't know if it's going to be Zach Allen or JFM, but one of them is going to get to the quarterback multiple times.
Oh, no, it's going to be Zach Allen this week.
They're insane. Those two guys are just insane. And just the most disruptive. The most disruptive the interior of that defensive line has been since, I think, the 2000s. I haven't seen this kind of movement since, there was some of that when they won the Super Bowl, but it wasn't like this. Just on every play.
That was also dependent on the outside edges too. With
it was 100%. You had Ware and Miller were so much more the focal point of that group, whereas back in the day, you had like Ma'a Tanuvasa and those kind of guys just running. Trevor Price just being
that's what I was saying.
Hold on.
Trevor Price just being a fucking maniac.
Ma'a Tanuvasa on the same level as Trevor Price. Trevor Price was otherworldly. Ma'a Tanuvasa, besides his name, was a jag. He was just
he was there.
Trevor made a play, but Trevor was on another level. Trevor also knocked out Brian Greasy. So there's that.
Right, yeah, punched him right in the face. But this is the most movement I've seen on the internal part of the defensive line in probably 2 decades. It's been a lot of fun to watch. Anyways, that is Pew Pew Pick'em for the week, guys. That was a lot of fun. That was a ton of fun. We'll see how it goes. Matt, just so you know, you picked away from the Duchess
twice.
I see once,
Just
maybe
once.
Twice. She picked the Eagles and the Colts. Otherwise, you guys picked on the same side. She told me to pick for her on the last game because she doesn't give a shit, which is why I wrote B's by both. But she said Steelers if you had to put a gun to my head. So, but yeah, she told me to pick because she can't give a fuck about it. Anyways, we will see how you guys do next week. Before we go into dipshit of the week, is there anything you guys want to mention besides NBA season starting real quick tomorrow or anything like that?
It's already started.
Yeah. Well, Nugget season starts
For
tomorrow.
us, it starts tomorrow.
Nugget season starts tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a hell of a lineup this coming into this year. It looks like it's going to be a good team. Good spread of the ball.
Yeah, and AG got a team-friendly extension, so he's going to be here for another 5 years. So that's really awesome. Anyways, I think that's all the news and notes we need to cover, right? Yeah?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the bench develops, especially with Russ running the bench. And you've got Russ who can drive and Strother who can shoot. I'm really interested to see how that all works out. So it's going to be a fun season for sure. Also, fuck Boston.
As always, fuck Boston.
Those warm-up jerseys were pretty nice that they rolled out.
I don't give a fuck.
know. Yeah, they were awesome. And the rings look pretty nice too.
Oh yeah, I mean rings are rings, right? They get better every single year.
Oh yeah.
I had the opportunity to actually hold a Nuggets championship ring in the last season, and that part where it slides out and it has the championship banner in it. Okay, that's pretty fucking sick. Like that's pretty goddamn cool. And it, $100,000 or $120,000 a piece. They should be.
Yeah.
So rings are rings, but
100%.
fuck Boston. Except for Derek White. We love Derek White.
We do love Derek White, and not all of us say fuck Boston. It's going to be another good season for all of our NBA teams. We'll probably have an NBA special in the next week or so. In addition to this, we'll probably do another little quick hitter at some point. Hopefully soon we'll talk about it and get something scheduled and out on the socials for you. In the meantime, this is the part of the show where we talk about people that do stupid things. Dipshit is our producer. She always came up with this at first, and they were always really funny, viral things. This is your time to shine if you are stupid. I'll go first tonight. I have just one thing to say. Bronny James is undefeated as an NBA basketball player. I thank you. He went 0 for 3 from the floor, 0 for 1 from three-point range, and was on the floor for 3 minutes, but still got the win, and the Los Angeles Lakers are undefeated. And so Bronny James has a better winning percentage than his dad. And Michael Jordan, he should just retire now and call it a career. Which one of you two numbskulls wants to go first?
Go ahead. Oh, you want me?
Okay.
All right.
Go ahead. Yeah, you're good.
Mine's an easy one. It's kind of the Jets in general, because there's no one left to fire at this point. And then Devontae Adams in particular, because he went from a loss to the Steelers to a loss to the Steelers on 2 different teams in consecutive weeks.
Yeah, love that story.
Right.
Love that story.
Matt? Honorable mention, the worst general manager in the NBA, LeBron James, who put his son on his own team just so he could get some attention. Fuck that guy. I do not hate Bronny. However, you do not deserve to be on the floor if you're not going to score any points or have any.
He's a hell of a defensive talent, though.
Fuck right off.
On that note,
did you? The whole thing.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but LeBron is going half gray. I don't know if you saw that. The plugs are not going gray.
Bald for 10 years.
No, but he got the plugs to fight the baldness, but the hair is going gray, but the plugs are still brown.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really
hilarious.
Weird. Like top is straight brown, and this shit is going gray. You can just see where the additions have been. It's really funny to look at. Matt, go ahead.
The Lakers beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. It's game 1 of 82. However, we all know that the Lakers are not going to be able to stay healthy because they have AD, who fell down again just 5 minutes ago. I don't know if you know that or not. He fell down. And LeBron is going to blow something in his lower leg. It's just going to happen. And Bronny can't score. So fuck the Lakers. My dipshit of the week is one Jamison Williams of the Detroit Lions, who is now facing a 2-game suspension for failing the league's performance-enhancing drug policy. You may remember that Jameson has already been suspended once for violating the league's gambling policy. This guy cannot get out of his own way. He is immensely talented. He's got speed for days. His route running is outstanding. Don't do dumb shit and you will make all kinds of money, son. Figure it out. You're in a great environment with a fantastic head coach, with a quarterback who gets it. You're surrounded by dudes. Jameson Williams, pull your head out of your ass and don't be a dipshit of the week. Yahtzee.
Just one quick note. Did you see the rumor going around that it's Viagra?
I did hear that.
I heard that. It has not been confirmed.
Right. But I've seen that. I just think that's silly. Whether or not it's true, it's just a fun rumor. We like the silly and ridiculous here. Well, that's gonna do it for us. So let's go around and let's pimp the things and do the stuff. And we'll start with Mr. Frank.
All right, yeah, you can find me on the socials at Tank Knox or Knox Nostalgic Collectibles. Go Broncos. Yay.
Then we'll go to me because Matt's got all the socials and then he can sign off from here because I am comfortable with the way his Wi-Fi is doing. So kick it back to him for the finale. We did a special episode this past week on Star Trek for nerds that know. It was a lot of fun. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to listen. There is going to be a ton more of this content coming. So be on the lookout on the nerds that know. We're going to be doing a bunch of this shit. There's just going to be an overwhelming amount of specialty episodes about stuff. I'm very excited to see what is going to come up here. So good stuff coming there. So Matt, why don't you close us out, bud?
First thing, I'm going to call you out. You guys all missed the boat on Klingons. Klingons are space Vikings. They're nothing else because they are all about honor and battle. And when they die in battle, they go to Stovo Kor, which is Valhalla. Enough said.
I don't know if you saw Lucy's response. I think I sent it to you. Where she said, I didn't even think about that.
They're space Vikings. It's so easy. It's like, it's right there for you.
She agrees.
Yeah, right. So looking forward to participating in some of those. I really would like to have another updated Trek conversation, dive into the Star Wars thing. And we talked about, Battlestar and Stargate and all that.
Yeah.
Make sure you follow us on all of our social channels. You can find My Brother's an Idiot on Facebook. Just search My Brother's an Idiot. You'll see the black and pink logo. You can come on in. We post stuff there all the time. Make sure you follow us on My Brother's an Idiot on Twitch, Twitter, and TikTok at The Idiot Goons. Mark's Twitch, Twitter, and TikTok are at Poffle Time. My Twitch and Twitter are at Puffleopicus. And you can find me on TikTok at King Goon Smoke. For the absent Milty, we love you, Milty.
Milty.
For the absent Dipshit, we love you, Dipshit.
Dipshit.
Where was she anyway? What happened there?
This past weekend?
Was she working? Yeah, was she working today?
Well, I'm assuming that she's catching up from the weekend when she was in Los Angeles this past weekend. She saw a couple of Joni Mitchell concerts, and if the opportunity arose, which it did not because the fucking Mets fell apart, she would have been able to go to NLCS Game 7. She did have tickets for it, but she didn't get back till I think Monday night, and so I'm assuming that she's working just extra long and stuff. I actually haven't heard from her, which means she's just working a ton.
Of course. Well, we love you, Dipshit. Thank you. She's obviously an integral part of the show. For Mark and for Tank, I am the King Goon, the Pacific Northwest remembers. Make sure you take care of yourselves, take care of your families, and take care of each other. This has been My Brother's an Idiot. We'll catch you next time. See ya.